So you're on a job and a customer asks you about some random lock that they have. In this case, let's pretend it's the ProLock patio door lock, which are really cool. And they want it keyed to a different key, or they have two of them and they want them keyed alike. Who knows what it might be, and you're gonna encounter all sorts of random types of situations like these. And so together, we're gonna take this plug out of this patio door lock, and we're going to go over it, we're gonna talk about it, and we're gonna try to come up with some solutions and tips that are gonna help you out in the real world. Let's have some fun. All right, so here is the patio door lock. Now I'm gonna be using this one as an example because, well, we actually get a lot of questions about it, so it'll be fun to kind of answer these questions as well as just talk about what's going on here as a whole, because it's going to be common. Now, in a previous video, I talked about when you find these disc tumbler style locks that kind of, that look like this from the outside, and there's no way on either one of the sides where you can turn, pop anything out, anything like that. Well, you can stick a key in with a key extractor, and in the back you can pop it out, right? If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'll put a link in the notes below. Definitely check that out. But that's really not the only way that these can come apart. And so if you try that method in a lock like this, it's not going to work. And that's why, you know, so many times things are true and both untrue depending on the circumstances. And this is one of those. So we're gonna talk about how to get this out, and then we're gonna talk about rekeying options and what all that kind of looks like here. So what you wanna do is, if you try the putting the key in, putting the key extractor down, and you can't get anything to come out, your next step is gonna be able to take the lock off of whatever it's on or mounted to. So in this case, you would, behind this metal bar here, there's two screws. You would remove those, and then you could take this off of the door. And when you do that and you flip it around, this is what you're going to see. As you can see right here, and it kind of is upside down, let me flip it around here. As you can see right here is this wafer. Now it's just like the wafer in the other video I did talking about taking these apart, but it's actually a little different. We're gonna take it apart and examine it here, but it's really simple to get these plugs out of these locks. All you have to do is just push in the wafer and just push with your thumb, just like that. And it's gonna come right out. It's really, honestly, that simple. Now, once you have it out, let's first talk about this back wafer here, okay? So I'm just gonna flip this upside down, and I'm gonna pop this out here. All right, so when I get this wafer out and we look at it, it's missing something, and it's missing the bottom, right? And that's why when you try using the key extractor technique to remove a plug and it doesn't work, that's because this wafer is designed to allow you to not do that. And so right here at the bottom, when you put your key extractor in, you would use that bottom piece to pull that wafer down to get it out of the lock. In this case, when you try that, there's nothing there to pull it down, which is why you have to take it apart that way. But that's why when you try that technique and it doesn't work, that right there, a wafer like this, is why. Now, let me go ahead and put this back together. All right, so now that we have it back together, let's talk about rekeying. Now, when it comes to like who actually made this, these wafers and this plug, I mean, your guess is as good as mine. It could be really any company using any specs, all of that kind of fun stuff. So essentially, you're gonna have a couple of options. Option one is to check to see if like your wafer kit that you have will work with it. Option two is to pretty much move wafers around or remove wafers to make them work. So what I wanna do here is I'm gonna take out this first wafer and let's just look at it for a minute. There we go. All right, so this is the wafer that came out of this lock here. And let me just grab one of these. Now this is just a little Compex, like cam lock, disc tumbler style lock kit. And if we put them next to each other, they're actually very, very similar. Although if you can hopefully tell in this image, the wafer that came out of this plug is actually longer. And so that might cause us some problems. I mean, to some degree it will for sure. But let me just take the wafer that came out of this, set it aside down here for a moment. And then let's take this and we'll put it in. So surprisingly, almost all these type of wafers are about the same diameter. And so they almost always work. So, okay, so that goes in really nice. But as you can see, if I turn it sideways here, it doesn't stick up quite as much as the other wafers. And unfortunately, with the loose tolerances that these locks have, that actually is going to create a problem. Let me find a key here. Go ahead and stick it in there. And as you can see, it works, right? Like it's short enough for there, but when you pull it out, there's really not a lot there. So it's not really a great option. And sometimes that's just how it's going to actually be. There's really nothing you can do about that. So if that's the case when you try it, you know, I mean, that's really not going to be a good solution. Although I would still put one in. If I was off one pin tumbler and we had to put it in, you know, in one, I would definitely not hesitate on that. But let me go ahead and get this back out here. Put that back in the kit. We'll grab our wafer here and put it back. Now, as what I did is I actually grabbed another one of these door locks. So as you can see, this one works in here. And then I already got this one out. Let's look at it. As you can see, it actually looks pretty good, minus this one wafer here at the very end, right by, at the very end right here. So what we could do here is, in this case, I would just take this one wafer out, and set this down and pop it out here. All right. Get the spring. All right. And then at that point, this key is going to work. So if you have a couple of these, you need a key alike. Typically, you could just find enough commonality between the two of them, hopefully make it work. Use some wafers if you have them. But you're really stuck up against, you know, a spot where like you're probably not going to find anything absolutely perfect to work it, because ProLock doesn't sell a rekeying kit for these, right? So you have to just use what you can. But now let's go ahead. Let's get this put back in. And let's try and see if it works. Okay. All right, there we go. So there we go. We rekeyed these two to fit together. Thankfully, there was only really one wafer that needed to be changed. A lot of times it's just the tolerances are just so big that, well, you can get away with a lot when you need to. All right, so there you have it. You know, sometimes it's not gonna be as simple as, well, we all wish it was. And that's really okay, but if we can arm ourselves with as much information as we can, it's really gonna set us up for the best success on the job. And of course, all of the products that I've talked about, I'll put links in the notes below so you can check them out if you would like. Now, before you go, I wanna leave you with one extra tip. And when it comes to locks just like this, if your customer actually has a different key that they want to fit, a different keyway, I should say, you can use the same trick as what I showed for the cam locks. By just removing the little tiny keyway notches, you'll be able to get essentially any key to fit it. Now, of course, it does lower security a little bit, but in a lot of times the customer actually would rather have that convenience. So, you know, it's always kind of a 50-50 decision to make, but it is an option. So what we're gonna do is we're going to take this lock apart and, so together, we're gonna take this patio door lock apart. We're gonna take this, nope. All right. And that is if you, hey, but before you go, I actually want to add, although I try not to make them because, well, they're weird. But anyways, man, cool.
Okay.
They're weird.
Okay.
Although I try not to make them.
Okay.
Chop it up like a big piece of steak, my man, if you eat steak. But anyways, we'll see you next time. Congrats, you've made it to the end. Now, I wanna make sure that when you are commenting on our videos that you include the hashtag LockBoss. When you do, you automatically get entered in to win one of 5 free prizes we give away every Tuesday live here on YouTube. So I look forward to reading your comment and responding soon. Until next time.